All right. Welcome to another edition of the Bullheaded Podcast. I'm your host, per usual, Sean Tyson, here with Zoo and Peebush. How you guys doing?
Doing all right, man. Baseball's back. Zoo's an excited man, but for other reasons, obviously, Zoo. You got the playing games tonight, and this man's got money on it. So we're all looking forward to these games, and obviously the playoffs coming in the next couple days. It's gonna be a fun time, man.
Yeah, baseball has been ruining my FanDuel feeds, man. Too many boosted odds for MLB games. I had to filter that shit out, man. I got to scroll down a little more now. On my default page instead of my NBA, it's MLB now. I don't know what's up with that, but yeah, you baseball fans have fun, but I'm going to watch the real sport. NBA basketball time, baby. Play-in tournament time. Come on, Bulls. Come on, Bulls. I'm praying for you. I'm praying for a miracle. A miracle. Because that's what's going to take.
Yeah. It's a good playoff matchup set already.
Definitely. Yeah. We definitely have a lot of good playoff matchups set up. But like people just kind of alluded to, we're going to be getting into the play-in. It's kind of a cool format that the NBA came up with last year. So this kind of, I guess you could say, the second annual play-in. And we actually have a matchup that's on right now between Brooklyn and Cleveland. But we're going to ask the guys, their thoughts on the play-in. Who do they see advancing? And then we're kind of going to have a later discussion about playoff matchups in the future. So, people, I'm going to start with you.
I guess I'll start with the game we got starting 4 minutes ago. Yeah. So, I mean, the Cavs, shout out to them for their season. I know they kind of dwindled off there towards the end. I think they lost like 8 of their last 11, unfortunately. Dealt with some injuries here and there. The Jared Allen injury has clearly affected them a lot, especially on the defensive end. Zoo, I don't know. I think he's out for tonight with that fractured middle finger. As a rebounder, you kind of need all the fingers you can get. So if that's your one job, that is what you need. Unfortunately, can't really play through that. But, I do think that it is a one game and any team can just have a lights out 3-point shooting game.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why, I think these are arguably harder to predict than even some March Madness first round matchups, just because it's an NBA team, man. Any one of these guys can have an unbelievable night. Not saying college kids can't, but, it is the NBA. So, I do think that the Nets, they took 3 out of 4 against the Cavs during the regular season. And that was really just with Kyrie and KD. I think 2 of those games. So, we have a pretty good idea of how they'll play without Harden, against a solid, playoff team in the Cavs. So I do have the Nets advancing, which puts them up against the Celtics in the first round. But that's gonna be the first game we're gonna know about here in the next 2 hours.
Yep.
So we'll see if we're right pretty immediately.
As I put some money on it, KD 30 points, Brooklyn Nets with the W, man. I don't care how he does it, but he got to get it done, man. It got to be KD be the reason. I don't want no Kyrie Irving 50 point, 60 point performance because he has the ability to do that. He's already done that multiple times. And sometimes KD sees Kyrie cooking. Uncle Drew cooking just sits on the sidelines, man. Sits on the sidelines. Pretty much Kyrie goes one-on-one the entire matchup. I don't want none of that. I want some team basketball. No, I don't want team basketball. I want KD the ball, man. That's all I want, man. No other teammates touch it. KD he can't lose the play-in tournament to a team without, I think, one of their probably second most important player in Jared Allen.
Yeah,
I would say he's even more valuable than the rookie. Yeah, Jared Allen. Evan Mobley, that rim double twin tower, like pretty much San Antonio, Tim Duncan, David Robinson, defense down low, like traditional 7-footers down there to play defense. So without that rim protect, I'm like, Laurie marketing.
Darius is going to need 50.
I'm telling you, man, like Darius Garland, man, like Kyrie Irving, man, his defense we'll see the interesting matches of how they put their point guards on Darius Garland because they might put like a Brown on Darius Garland to try to slow him down because, dude, if Darius Garland, that dude's jump shot is wet, man. Like he's got such a nice silky jump shot, and when he gets going from deep, man, 25 and 10 easy right now. So they'll need it all from him. They need a freaking MVP caliber performance to beat the Brooklyn Nets because I don't think KD wants. If KD losing the play-in tournament, man, I'm sorry, that's embarrassing. That's just embarrassing. It gets a team without one of their best players too, man. No excuses. No excuses. At home, too. You're at home.
They snuck by getting that home. I know we were talking about them. I think they were hovering around that 9-10 last week when we talked, and they somehow shot up to that 7 seed. They were praying for the Cavs to keep losing, and they did. But the Cavs, Zoo, to quote you, they need a virtuoso performance out of Darius Garland. But yeah, man. I mean, Sean, you got the Nets in this one, man?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think
9.5, man. 9.5 point spread, man.
There's no possible way, unless there's foul trouble or someone gets injured, that the Nets lose this game.
Mhm.
I just, a lot of people talk about the Nets size, but I mean, with Jared Allen being gone and Evan Mobley is a up and coming big, I just think for this being his first playoff game, I don't think Evan Mobley's gonna come in and get like 25 and 25. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think the Nets are gonna make this probably quick work. And only thing I could maybe see that could happen is if Darius, like you guys were talking about, gets hot and he makes it interesting for the first 3 quarters. But I don't think there's ever a situation where Cleveland could beat the Nets in this. And that's no shade to Cleveland. They've had a great year. Now, if they did have Jared Allen, I would say there's a chance, because one thing about the Nets, they don't Andre Drummond, fine,
That's
but
it.
they don't have anybody in the middle that can handle those Twin Towers. And not saying Jared Allen is Akeem Olajuwon, but he's not as stiff on offense. He can get putbacks and he could do alley oops.
Yep.
So that would
17
be
points,
a
16,
nice,
17, man. All-star
he can
this
score.
year. All-star
Yeah.
this year.
So yeah, I just don't see a scenario where that's one of the less interesting playing games. The other two, though, or the other ones, are to me very interesting because they're pick 'em and all the rest of them
Yes.
to me.
I agree. I'm
Absolutely.
looking at the one later tonight. I mean, you got Clippers T-Wolves. I think, you could argue Hawks Hornets could be a damn good game, but I think this Clippers T-Wolves game is going to be awesome. We get to see probably a PG versus Anthony Edwards show. That's going to be, and once again, man, this is a team, the Timberwolves, that they could get hot on one night, man. They call them the swaggy T-Wolves, man. Like they got D'Lo, Cat, and Ant. That's
And
not a bad
and
trio.
their offense efficiency since the new year has been top 5, man. They've been so efficient offensively.
Yep.
Doesn't
They're taking good
surprise me at
shots.
all. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all because you look at on paper, it's usually one of those like on paper young teams. Like they got a lot of talent on paper, but they usually lose games. But this year they did that Phoenix Suns switch, man. Because I always said the same thing about the Phoenix Suns when they had Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, all these young talent that they got on paper switch, and now they're 58. They're winning like 50+1% of their games right now in the Western Conference. So they flipped the switch, and I want to see Karl Anthony Towns in his second playoff performance without Jimmy Butler again in his year and see how he performs in a play-in tournament game. Because, man, it's going to be on Cat to get it done because, my Lord, their center position, the Clipper size, Zubac, come on now.
He needs to take advantage.
You got to cook his ass.
Okay.
You got to cook his ass, man. That is a matchup that you should absolutely dominate. So if Cat shows up, man, I think the Clippers, though, man, dude, the Clippers, it is a pick-up,
so
man.
well coached.
Since the odds
they're hot.
Yeah, man. They're super high, and they've been super competitive all year, even without their best players. And now with PG back, man, they got nice supporting players. So I'm just like, man.
They made the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah,
man.
they did.
With pretty much that team.
Without Kawhi Leonard, man. So this is a team that does
and
that.
They have experience.
And, yeah, if I look at the odds plus 130, man, I'll probably go with the Clippers, man.
Yeah. I'm Zoo, I'm agreeing with you there. I'm picking the Clippers really just because of an experience thing. I don't think that there's a knock on the T-Wolves' inexperience, though, because they have shown that, I mean, for that young of a team to be able to adjust halfway through the year, especially on just efficiency, not just, we're starting to stay in games, but their efficiency just skyrocketed. That's when you know a team's kind of taking the next step because they're playing it, the offense is flowing well. But I think this Clippers team, man, they stay in every single game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in one game, I'm taking
come back, man. They've come back in a lot of games. So if even
except
the
against the
Timberwolves
Bulls. Sorry, I had to shout that out.
Shout out to DeMar DeRozan's 50. It took a 50 piece to come back.
Yeah, it did.
A 50 piece.
But PG, he could be the best player on the floor tonight if Cat has an off game. That's what I think. And I'm going to take the best player on the floor. But I do think Cat has easily the best best matchup to take advantage of any team or any player on the floor on both sides of the court.
Yeah.
I feel
like this might be an Anthony Edwards coming out party right here, man.
It
First
might be.
playoff opportunity. This dude was one 3-pointer drive from a 50 piece, man, his second year, man. And he was jacking up threes trying to get that 50, man, but he couldn't get that. But, man, oh, man, Anthony Edwards, man, the 6'4" guy, 220, first, I guess, playing experience now. Man, if he shows up, man, he can make this guy's a potential future superstar, man.
Yeah,
he's got it all, man. Athletically talented.
Plus, there's no pressure, I feel like, on Anthony Edwards. His second
Exactly.
year, like, he can just go out there and go do whatever. And it's like nobody's gonna be like, oh, Anthony Edwards didn't get it done. I think I'm more with wanting to pick Minnesota just because of the future matchup of what it could be between Memphis. Because I've been on the Memphis train, but I think that's a really interesting first round matchup.
Two young
Because
teams.
You got two guys with Ja Morant is who he is. We all know that. Memphis's team is pretty deep considering how they did without Ja. But just in terms of when you talk about best players on the court, like I'm going to pick Ja, but then the next two players I'm going to pick is Karl-Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards. So, like, just in terms of best players on the court, and then D'Lo, he would probably be maybe the fourth or fifth. I may pick somebody else from Memphis, but he could be that fourth option. Like, you're going to have 3 out of the best 4 players on the court. And if Anthony Edwards has this attitude of, like, I don't care, it's my second year, I'm just going to go play, like, they're not going to be scared of Memphis. Memphis is not the team where it's like they're respected in the Western Conference of always getting to the conference finals or getting to the finals. Like, no, they don't have that cachet yet. So I think I'm rooting for Minnesota just because I want to see that, because that's an interesting matchup with Karl-Anthony Towns, and I just think they have a chance to be explosive. And then you got to also think he won't be able to stop, and I'm talking real far in advance, but I'm just saying if this happens, Pat Bev is not going to stop Ja Morant, but he can get under his skin. He's going to piss him off. And if that makes Ja do something out of character,
Ja gonna eat his ass up, man.
I don't know. Well, nobody say he's gonna stop him, but you know how Pat Bev can't stop anybody really. But he gets
Ja Morant
you make it hard for him.
Morant mentally is built different, man. That dude, I just feel like that dude's swagger, man. I don't bet against Ja's mentality, man. His intangibles, man. Oh my lord, his intangibles are incredible. Incredible for such a young player,
leader from Memphis.
I'll take either one of this game, though. I think a rising Clippers team with PG coming back would be fun to watch play the Grizzlies, because we got some hella great series back in the day between the Grizzlies and Clippers with those Zebo and Chris Paul teams, respectively. But I do think the Wolves could give the more exciting run for their money, I guess. They're just more showboaty than the Clippers are. They're high flying. They like to shoot threes, jack up threes. I don't know. I think either matchup will be good. I think the Clippers are going to come out, but I would not be angry to see the Timberwolves in the actual playoffs this year.
Yeah, I would definitely rather see the Timberwolves, because the Clippers, they're without Kawhi Leonard, so he ain't going to do anything. But I don't think he's
coming back.
Oh,
this is the finals.
Kawhi's a band-aid.
The finals.
Kawhi's a band-aid. He ain't coming back, man. Since the little Timberwolves pups in, let them free, man. Let them get some playoff experience.
For real. I think going on to the next, matchup would be Hornets and Hawks. This definitely has the chance to be a super high scoring game.
That's the over.
The guard play might be crazy. That's another pick 'em. I think I'm gonna lean more towards the Hawks just because they've been there. Trey, his run last year, I don't think was
miracle.
Anomaly.
That was a miracle.
I think his play within, I think the team success was an anomaly, but I think his play, I think Trey's like that. So I think Trey can continue that momentum. And I just kind of think with Charlotte, they're kind of the team, when we talk about young teams, they definitely feel like they're built for the regular season. I just don't know, I guess if it's a tight game, who do I trust more? I don't know who. LaMelo's a tremendous player, but in a tight game, I don't who are they going to?
Yeah, he ain't no closer. Yeah, he ain't no closer.
Who is it? Miles Bridges?
Hayward?
I guess you say Terry Rozier might be the guy. I don't know. He's doing
some big shots in his career
with Boston, but it's just that's why Charlotte kind of makes me a little I don't know.
And I think they're without one of their most important veteran players, Gordon Hayward. He's going to miss the play-in tournament. Yeah, he's missing the play-in tournament. So
they're not.
Yeah, that's who they would give it to, probably.
Exactly.
To be honest.
Exactly, man. Gordon Hayward.
They'd probably give it to Gordon if it was at the game and you needed a bucket. I'd probably give it to Gordon Hayward on that team. And they don't have him.
Exactly. So they're without their best veteran player. LaMelo Ball too young. All their other players, Bridges, too young to get it done against this Atlanta Hawks team. That was battle tested last year. They got in a lot of experience, beating the 76ers. I still don't know how that happened. That was a miracle. Only Doc Rivers could make miracles happen for the other team, man. So if you're playing against Doc Rivers, 3-1, baby. Come back, baby. Let's make some more history, man. Let's go OG Anunoby, baby. Let's get it done. But man, oh man, dude, I'm just this Charlotte team, man, they're a cute team. They made the play-in tournament, man. Good for you. But you're not fully healthy. And LaMelo Ball is still a year away from being that perennial all-star type of dude. So I'm going nice Trey, man. This guy put up a historic season, man. He led the league in total points and total assists, man.
Ridiculous.
Total point. He did that in college, and he did it now in the NBA.
Yep.
Total points, total assists, showing his durability and his production at an elite
And his
level in the regular
transition
season.
ability
Yeah,
from
exactly.
one level to the other. It was easy
Yeah, I'm
for
just
him.
Trey Young, Ice Trey, man, all NBA caliber player, man. He needs to be on all NBA. It would be a travesty if he doesn't make an all NBA team, but I feel like the voters will get.
I'm sure they listened to our podcast last week. Don't worry.
Took all of our advice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I personally have the Hawks rolling through. I think of, besides the Nets, they're obviously the strongest team in the play-in on the East side. I just think if you're looking at a one-on-one player, I'm always going to take, in a game like this with inexperience showing, I'm always going to take who has the better player overall, and it's just the Hawks, man. So I believe in Trey and his ability more than LaMelo to actually get his teammates involved and in a rhythm. I think that's the difference between LaMelo at his point in his career right now and where Trey's at. Because Trey just has everything kind of in front of him and he sees it much easier. So
Yeah, he's an offensive savant, man.
Oh yeah,
like his pick and roll game, like
up there with
Clint
Matt.
Capella.
Passer.
Yeah,
He's
his
an
pick
underrated
and roll
passer.
game. He's like making Capella, man. I watched that. I'm just like, God, how is Capella so unstoppable, man?
Yeah.
Like his way of throwing lobs is just his ability to control pick and rolls and manipulating the refs. Like Trey Young is just a basketball offensive savant. So, man, let's move it on. Let's move it on, Ice Trey, man. Try to make the playoffs, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. This next one, though, this is the one playing I probably would sleep. I don't care for either team. And I think if either team like somehow were to win 2 games or whatever, because this is the 9-10, right? Like if they were to win 2 games, I would hate it because then whoever they face in the playoffs is sweep season. Like I just would rather not see both of these.
Oh, the Suns would eat them so easily. It's not even funny.
Like I just don't even want
to. Maybe not Zion, but everybody else on the team.
Yeah, I think if I just had to pick a team, I would say the Pelicans, just because Brandon Ingram has the only chance to maybe explode in a 1-game scenario. So I would pick him. Honestly, if you asking me, like personally, I don't think the Spurs should have tried to make the play-in because I think
I don't think they were, man. I thought they were trying to tank.
The
man,
Lakers
but
tried
the
harder.
Lakers were.
Yeah.
No, the thing with the Lakers are trying, and
That's
then they still couldn't beat a team that was tanking. That is so embarrassing. So embarrassing.
I just don't understand like the whole aspect, I guess, of the Spurs and what they're trying to do. So
no man's land.
Yeah, they're in that weird area of where
the Bulls were for years, man.
Yeah, that's the worst place to be when you're in the NBA. You either want to be god awful or you want to be in playoff contention. And like you say, with
top
the play-in, yeah, you kind of you have faith in some play-in teams like Charlotte, for example. Like even though they're in the play-in and they may lose, like you're still more optimistic about their future because I guess LaMelo is a star, so you're going to be able to build around him. But the Spurs is kind of like they got a lot of guys that are just like like DeJounte Murray is
DeJounte is really good, man.
He's a beast.
He's really good. He's really good.
But it's like the other guys they got are just and they're young too because they got a couple guys I guess has got to grow. But Pelicans I feel like they'd be more interesting if Zion was there, but he's not. So that makes this game like ugh.
McCollum can make. I don't think.
I'm taking the Pelicans.
I'm taking the Pelicans too.
Like if you just look at the talent on paper, like CJ McCollum has elevated that team to actually watchable, and Brandon Ingram, like those two star power, both those guys can easily drop 25. Like we saw CJ cook it up in the playoffs because he's a true skill guy. His pull up game, mid range game, he's a super skillful guy. So I feel like CJ will be able to accelerate in this matchup against San Antonio. Because if you look at the San Antonio Spurs, man, who could create their shot, man?
Maybe Deontay.
A little mid-range, but that's pretty much it. Like the rest of the roster, man, mediocre. Yep. I'm surprised Popovich hasn't retired yet, man.
There was just more teams that were worse. That's the best way to put it.
Yeah, the rest of the West were legitimately tanking, and the Lakers. That were the teams below them, man. That were the teams below them.
Yeah, I mean, I have Pelicans coming through. I do think McCollum. Like, I think he could make the game exciting. I'd actually be more interested if the Pelicans do win to watch them play the loser of the Clippers T-Wolves. I think that would actually be a decent game just to see McCollum actually play either one of those teams who has definitely way more talent. So I'd like to see the Pelicans move on. And who knows, maybe Zion would be healthy to play the second one. Who knows?
If the Clippers were to lose that game against the T-Wolves, and then it would be the Clippers, I guess, would play whoever lost the Pelicans or the Spurs, and then if the Clippers won that and became the 8th seed, the Suns would mop the floor, I think. But didn't that series go 6 games last year against the Clippers without Kawhi?
Yeah.
I don't know. It could get interesting.
Not
If
though.
the
I
Clippers
think
got
this.
the AC.
I think this Suns team is way better than last year's team. They
People keep
man,
saying that. Why? How?
64 wins.
Their regular
and they
season
were-
don't matter.
and
I'm
they-
talking about in the playoff. Like,
Oh.
what makes them better than what they
Just
were
another
last
year of working together.
Yeah, just more chemistry, and I feel
think
like
they
didn't
young
change
young
that
players,
same.
the young players have gotten better. Like Mikal Bridges, he's a defensive player of the year candidate.
Never missed a
So
game.
he's exactly. Oh, that's actually
For real, for
freaking
like
wild.
4 years, I think too.
Yeah, he's,
Yeah.
he's skinny
wild.
too, man. He's not like physically like
Yeah.
built. It's like a skinny
Spindly
dude.
or whatever.
But
Yeah.
yeah, but all the young players getting better, man. And then you got Devin Booker also elevating his game too. But CP3 still CP3. So
People keep
Yeah,
saying, I think
25,
they-
6 and 6, man.
I think I can agree with Mikal, but Booker, people
He's
keep
got better.
talking
He
about
got,
he's
he got
getting
better. He's more
I don't
productive this
see
year.
it.
He's improved his passing, man. He's improved his passing up to
He
6
ain't no
assists a
passer.
game.
He is
He ain't
passing
passing.
more.
When it comes to the game on line, Booker ain't passing shit. He's gonna score, and that's what he do. That's why I
Yeah,
don't
that's a
understand
regular
these
season
things.
thing.
To me, it's up to Chris Paul being healthy. If he's healthy, they're gonna
Yeah.
make it to the finals. If he's not healthy, I don't Booker. Let me
Grizzlies.
tell you something. If Chris Paul if he gets hurt, Suns ain't doing nothing. I don't want to hear nothing about Booker passing. He ain't gonna be doing none of that. Chris Paul,
Yeah, he'll have to score.
Like to me, it's about Chris Paul. That's why, like, if he's healthy, the Suns will mop the floor with everybody. But if he's not healthy, they're not doing nothing.
They'll win
That's-
series. They'd easily
Yeah.
still make the Western Conference.
But I'm just saying the
Finals.
Clippers went 6 games with them last year without, and it's the same team from last year, so it's not crazy. I don't think they would sweep them this year. Then, like,
Yeah,
it's
they-
not crazy.
if they played in the first round, it'd probably be like I'd give them 5 games. They
yeah,
could
5.
possibly
What do you
go
get? A
6
gentleman
again.
sweep. A gentleman
Yeah,
sweep.
a gentleman's sweep. There you go. We're just trying to shout out PG a little bit, you know.
Yeah, just give him. I mean, he's been hurt the whole year and he's came back. Like, but I think PG last year was playing more of the entire season, so he's
That's
kind of, I
true.
guess you could say, rusty. So I guess it could be a gentleman
Yeah.
sweep, but that would be more interesting. My whole point is I don't want to see the Pelicans Spurs in that 1-8. I
Yeah.
just don't. Just don't give me that, because if I get that, snooze. I'm going to sleep early. Like I'm
Yeah,
not
that's-
watching that game.
That's not a 1-8 seed I want to watch. No, a series I do want to watch in the West is Warriors versus Denver, man. I'm not saying that Denver would. I don't think they'll win the series. I
They
don't
could
think
get-
so. I don't think Jokic can do. Look,
They don't
we all
have an
know
answer
we all
for
know
Jokic,
what he
bro.
can do, right? We all know that. But can he do it and carry a team across 7 games by himself in a playoff environment?
No.
I don't see it.
But-
So I mean,
Depends on Steph Curry's injury.
I haven't heard
That's
anything about
fair.
Steph coming back
That is
either.
fair.
Yeah, man. If Steph is not
That's true.
playing, I think the Joker could get it done. If
I have
Steph's
Warriors.
not playing,
I have Warriors in
Not bad,
7
though.
in that series. Warriors in
Warriors
7.
at 7.
Either
Warriors
way,
at 7.
If
Either
Steph
way.
plays, I got him at 6. If Steph plays.
I could see that. Yeah, that's a fair.
Now Steph, like looking like first game, he might not play though.
Mm.
And if
Yeah,
that
this-
lingers, he's
yeah,
not
yeah.
himself.
They need Wiseman to guard Jokic.
They want him to go the Joker.
I love Wiseman, but yeah, that's a murder.
No, I'm
mission,
saying
or
that.
murder.
Who else do they have? You know what I mean? Like who
Kevin
are they gonna
Looney?
actually?
Draymond Green, bring it
Jokic
on,
is
boy.
gonna eat him.
Yeah,
But
it's
but
really
can
hard.
anybody else at least give him a lending hand? You know, like that's what. Are you going to trust Will Barton to take a much needed 3, or are you going to make Jokic bring up the point and jack up a 3 if you're down 3 at the end of the game? You know, like I don't know if you can trust anybody else on the Nuggets to really
No,
bring
no,
it home alongside Jokic
no.
enough, at least consistently across a 7-game series. So I think it'll be a really fun one to watch, but I don't think it'll be the Nuggets taking it in 6 games. If anything,
You know, they
might
did
squeak in
say
7.
I saw Shams or one of those guys, the reporters at Break News. They said that Mike Malone suggested to who was it, Murray, that he could have an off the bench role for 15, 20 minutes in the first round if he's up to it. They said he's mentally still trying to get over the ACL injury, but I mean, not for if the Nuggets were to get through that series somehow, that could get interesting in the West, and Murray comes back in that second round.
All
I
you
don't
need is
think, I
nice
don't, I
off
don't
the
think
bench.
he's coming back, man.
I wouldn't
First-
risk it.
Yeah, first
they're
game
saying
back
he-
is the
they're saying he
playoffs.
Yeah.
Is the playoffs? No, that's too much stress on the body, man.
Against
Playoffs?
the Warriors.
Yeah, come on, man. You get first matchup is fucking Steph Curry.
Hey,
Come
but
on now.
If they do it, they do it. I mean, if he
Nah,
wants
they
to
ain't,
make
they
that
ain't gonna
call-
risk it. Him and Michael Porter, I think they both.
See, I
stay.
thought
This
Michael
is a watch
Porter.
season.
I didn't know his was. I didn't think his injury was season
Season-ending.
ending. I thought it was
Yeah.
just he was out indefinitely, which means I guess you maybe have a
Dude,
chance.
back
to come back.
injuries with Michael Porter. The reason he
Yeah,
dropped
oof.
freaking 10 draft spots was because of his back. This is
Yep.
what people feared. So they're gonna take it seriously because they invested $100 million in the dude.
Yeah, they paid him, so they
$100
got to
million.
take their time. Yeah,
Yeah,
they gotta
man.
take their time.
They don't want to play with no back, man. But yeah.
What about that other West series, Zoo, that we know of already? That Dallas-Utah series.
Man,
Luka,
it's such a shame. Luka Doncic with the injury, man, the calf injury. They say no timetable. I don't like that, man. Calf injuries also linger. But you're playing against the Utah Jazz, who's known for choking, right? Like, if Luka is healthy, that's an easy, man. I say Dallas Mavericks in 5 games. Dallas Mavs in 5 games against the Jazz. Yeah. I feel that confident about it. But with Luka's injury, oh, man, I don't know, man. I don't know if they can roll without Luka Doncic because that means Jalen Brunson is the most important player on the team. Jalen Small Brunson is the most important player. This ain't Villanova no more, man. You're playing against NBA playoff teams, man. Like Jalen Brunson, because he's going to be primary playmaker and primary scorer along with Spencer Dinwiddie. So I'm like, can that get it done? Even though Jason Kidd has turned around their defense, I don't think so. If Luka Doncic missed more than half the series, I'm taking the Utah Jazz in 6 games.
6 games.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, if Doncic misses more than 2 games, I think Utah takes it in 6 or 7. Probably 6, I agree with you. But if Doncic misses maybe the first game or 2, I have Dallas in 7.
Dallas in 7.
Because he's missing at least probably 1 game. Let's be honest. He'll probably at least miss the first game unless he just miraculously gets some awesome treatment or something like that. But we don't know. There is no timetable, unfortunately.
Yeah, such a shame too on the last game of the year, and
exactly.
there was like I would say is meaningless basketball because like 2-3 seed, who cares, man? Playing that Luka Doncic and he, such a shame because this is a dude that just drops 40 a game in the playoffs. That's what he does.
Yep.
He has the highest career points per game in the playoffs, right in front of Michael Jordan right now of 33 point something. Like this dude has a higher scoring average than
still
Michael
can't win a
Jordan.
series.
But see, and that's the thing that sucks too, because Luka seems like if I had to pick up anybody in the Western Conference, like a team, Luka's because he's so talented. I feel like if we like he
can win by himself, man.
Yeah, and he could get to maybe a conference finals or a finals just off of his talent. Like that's what's the kind of just the really unfortunate part, because if he's compromised at all, I don't know. I just don't like that. I don't like that.
Such a shame too. Yeah. Such a shame too, man. Because when I watch Luka play, man,
it's beautiful.
It is. We're watching a legend. Like we get to witness an entire career of a future legend right now. Because when he plays, my God, this dude put up some of the most ridiculous playoff games I've ever seen in my entire life against an elite Clippers team with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. And now you get to play Utah Jazz. Come on. Bogdanovic, Mike Conley, Gobert, pick and roll all day, baby. Pick and roll all day. Are you kidding me? I'm telling you, man. Dude,
it could kind of be a boring. It could kind of be a boring series, though. I think just if Doncic doesn't play the majority of it. Boring ass series to watch.
About Doncic, man. They ain't down.
Unwatchable,
man. Took the words right out of my mouth, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Man. Right, unwatchable, man.
And then we got 2 more series though, Zoo, and it's in we'll start with Philly, Toronto. We'll save the best for last.
Oh yeah,
I'm about to say. I know y'all not gonna. What do they say? Bury the league? Like no. We gotta.
No. We're not gonna talk about it.
Man. Philly, Toronto. Man, this series is very, very interesting.
I agree.
First of all, the home field advantage. Matisse Thybulle not fully vaccinated, so he can't go to Canada. That's huge. They're one of their best perimeter defenders against a Raptors team who's surprisingly balanced in scoring. You got Van Fleet dropping 20 plus a game. You got Pascal Siakam, who potentially can make All NBA this year, like All NBA third team. So you got an All NBA guy. You got an All Star in Van Fleet. You got OG Anunoby. Shout outs to IU. 17 points a game. Elite defender. Elite length. This dude was a steal in the draft. Like Toronto, Masai Ujiri, and that scouting team over there in Toronto, man. These guys just hit on picks. And they hit on another with Scotty Barnes out of FSU, man. Like what this guy does on a daily basis is what I want Patrick Williams doing. I always say that.
He showed a little bit.
He showed a little, man. I'm like 35 piece. I'm like,
games.
Okay, that's a little cute. Let's do that in the playoffs against Giannis Antetokounmpo. Let's show up, man. I want to see that potential. But you got 4 dudes right now, and their defense, man. The length. The only non-length guy on the team is freaking Van Fleet, and everyone else is like 6'7", 6'8", or longer. Yeah, so I'm just like, man, this team against Doc Rivers, where miracles is possible.
Coaching mismatch.
Dude, Nick Nurse. Dude, Nick Nurse better head
know
coach
they
than
need?
Doc Rivers, man. I think he's a better
Way
head coach.
better coach.
The home field advantage. Like Joel Embiid also said on the JJ Redick podcast that the Toronto Raptors gives him the most difficulties that he's played against because of the length, because of the double teams. They always switch it up on defense. So pretty much Joel Embiid admits that the Nick Nurse and their defensive system bothers Joel Embiid, their best player. James Harden against all that length and after his little hammy injury, man, not looking the same, man. After cooking for 5 straight games on his new team, man, he's not looking the same with the hammy, man. He's not looking the same, and they need James Harden averaging 27 a game in this playoff series
and 9 assists.
Exactly, they need MVP Harden, the guy that they traded for, giving up all their assets for him. So unless Joel Embiid,
they should have traded Matisse, man. If they knew he wasn't going to be able to travel, they should have kept him over or kept Curry over him, man.
Oh no, dude, I think the what's it called?
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, shoot, and Matisse, dude, funny. Matisse Thybulle, great defensive player on offense. Absolutely atrocious.
Yeah, he hasn't developed.
Give me signs of Andre Roberson. Absolute liability.
That's a bad comparison.
Yeah, I still remember that brother shooting 30% from the free throw line, man. Ugly shot, man. Ugly shot. So offensively, Matisse is a negative. Obviously, defensive positive, but man, oh man, this series is going to be interesting. I'm going 7 games, man. 7-game series.
And you're giving it 2?
Can't believe I'm picking a Doc Rivers team, man. It's shameful. I'm picking the Philadelphia 76ers to get it done, man. Joel Embiid, man. I feel like Embiid's season, this dude averaging the highest points per minute this year.
Yep.
Over Michael Jordan.
That doesn't surprise me.
That is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. So you got Joel Embiid being freaking putting up Shaq/Michael Jordan numbers. He ain't losing the first round, then. That would be shameful. That would be shameful. It would remind me a little of the Dirk Nowitzki season where he won MVP
the Warriors.
and lost in the first round. Exactly. Something like that. So I don't want that on Joel.
That was a 1 versus 8 seed, Zoo.
Yeah, that was
embarrassing.
That was just the Dirk didn't even won the MVP after that, man. He felt shame of getting the MVP of that season. But Joel Embiid, man, I feel like this guy might be putting up a virtuoso. He's not going to let this team lose to the Toronto Raptors, which only has 1 All-Star this year. So I'm picking the Sixers in 7.
I got the Sixers in 6. I do think that the Raptors can cause them a lot of problems, especially on their wings. Like, any of these guys that come off the bench for the Sixers are going to have a hell of a time trying to score against this Raptors first unit because the depth that the Sixers have is going to be their downfall in this playoffs. I don't think it'll be the downfall against the Raptors, but it will be later on in the playoffs when you have to play a team like Milwaukee, who is pretty much stacked at nearly every position and a couple beyond on the bench. But Zoo, you're taking the best player on the floor, man. You're taking Joel Embiid. I completely agree with you. They also have the second best player. But once again, man, if the Raptors get him into foul trouble by just simply slashing at Embiid the entire game, which we all know they love to do. OG can do that. Scotty Barnes can do that. Pascal's great at that too. I think it could be a series. I could see it going to 7, absolutely. I just think I have a ton of faith in Embiid just kind of carrying. I think he's going to average 35 a game in this playoff series if nothing goes completely wrong for him. So Sixers in 6, man.
Sixers in 6.
Yeah,
there you go. Only fitting.
I think Embiid. I think the Sixers is 6 or 7 for me. To me, Embiid is going to be the guy who's going to have to carry them and do what he does in the post. Harden, like you say, he hasn't just looked the same, and I think that's important because to me, it's not even so much about Toronto; it's about like the next series for Harden and Embiid. I just think the playoff experience with Harden, even though it hasn't been the greatest, he's been there. Embiid has been there. Toronto, like you say, Van Vliet, now he's battle tested. Can't dismiss him. And you know, OG had some moments in the bubble. I guess you could say if that's count that as playoff experience. So you can't dismiss
Game
that.
Winner,
but
man. Game winner,
had a lot
man.
against the Celtics, wasn't it? I think it was against the Celtics. Yeah, in the corner.
White pass, tray ball, man. Incredible shot.
Yeah. So you can't dismiss their experience, but it's just when it comes to playoff basketball and how it slows down things like that, I just think Embiid and Harden are going to end up over time of the length of the series are going to impose their will. With Philly, it's not even about this series. It's more so about what are they going to be doing in the coming series. So I think in this series, I think they should get the job done, and Harden and Embiid will, I guess, save the embarrassment of the first round exit.
Yeah,
so
I'm telling you. James Harden, he's got a lot on the series, man. He wants a $200 million contract extension. $200 million extension. If they lose in the first round, I don't know if you give him $200 million if you lose in the first round, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard to justify
Yeah,
that.
right? $200 million. And Doc Rivers, if you have another upset where you are the favorite team,
he's gone.
you will not be returning as head coach. So those are two factors to consider in this series, and we'll see if pressure breaks them, man. Because sometimes pressure makes diamonds, man. I will see, man. We'll see if they're color.
I haven't liked how Harden's looked at all this year, and I'm starting to get worried to the point where he's only got about 2 good years left. He does not look good.
Yeah, the strip clubs are catching up your body.
He does not look good. Like
He needs a better sleep
he's
schedule.
aged, and it's weird because when, like you say, he still had the hamstring issue when he came from when he was like in Brooklyn, but he's like even that next year after the playoffs or whatever, he was averaging like a bunch of assists and was scoring when Kyrie was out, and it was just like he kind of he's fading with that, and I think it's because I don't think he's the type of player where Sue talks about the strip clubs and stuff, but like I think there's something to like that lifestyle in general. Like I don't think he's like
Take care of himself.
I don't think he's that type of guy. I don't know him, but I'm just saying you can just kind of tell he's not aging as gracefully. Even as bad as Russell Westbrook has looked physically and how Russell Westbrook played, he looks way better shape than
He
Harden.
takes care of himself.
Yeah, so it's like I don't know. Harden's he's aging really fast. It's getting to me the extension part. Like I don't know how many years would be attached to that extension.
5 years, $200 million.
I don't know.
In his last couple of years, he'll hit $60 million, and the brother will be 36.
I don't know, man.
I would rather have Ben Simmons.
Not gonna lie, that year's gonna be pretty bad, but it's about the present, not the future. You got Joel Embiid. That's why they went all in. So you better not lose to a freaking Toronto Raptors team that let go of their best player last year in Kyle Lowry. They just let him go. So if you lose to a team like that, changes will be happening.
Yeah, he would. Daryl would be the only guy who would be mulling over. Should I give this to him? And that's just because they have a relationship. Any other GM is probably not.
That's his boy, man. That's his boy.
Yeah,
so that would be the only reason why I could see them giving Harding that extension. But yeah, if they flame out in the first round, you got to. It's hard.
He's gonna have a whole Dennis Schroeder moment for him.
I don't know if it'd be that bad though, would it?
No,
Like,
he wouldn't get that. He just make a cool 25. You know, he just make 25 a year. I'm sure he couldn't live off that. But
probably
that's
not.
just me.
And no more strip club money, man. No more strip club money, man.
Yeah.
And quiet as kept. I'm sorry, I keep cutting you off. People, quiet as kept. Most people, the best strip clubs are in the South. So even though I'm not a strip club guy, but that's what I hear. The best strip clubs are in the South. So
man, you got some
if he were to not play with Philly, he would.
When he was in Houston,
somewhere else. Yeah.
Jeez, that was a deadly place for that man to go.
Yeah. No state tax too, so he really had the money flowing.
Oh yeah, he had the money. He had the cash. Yeah,
definitely. But people are going.
You already know what I'm about to lead into here.
Yeah.
This is going to be a rough conversation, Zoo, but we got our worst nightmare here, I think. We were hoping for the Sixers. We were hoping for the Raptors. Hell, man, I would have even played the Celtics. We didn't want the Heat. The Heat have owned us. But we get our juggernaut. We get Milwaukee. And Patrick Williams, I will say, the last couple of games has given me a little bit of hope in just his ability to affect the game in any way possible. Do I think that'll make a difference against Giannis? No. But I think that if the fact that they aren't getting Alonzo back is just demoralizing for that team. I think a lot of I'm sure the team, if they weren't looped in on all those conversations, was probably hoping and waiting for, the team doctors to clear him towards the end of the season, and it never happened. They just kept pushing it back and pushing it back. If the Bulls are going to even make this a series, I do have the Bucks winning in 5, another gentleman's sweep. I had to give them one game. I do think DeMar will just have a 40-something point game, one of those.
Explosion.
Yeah. But if they really want to make it a series, and if they want to make it 6 or 7 games, Levine and DeRozan are both going to need to average 30, and Patrick Williams is going to have to contain Giannis in some way, shape, or form and just get him into foul trouble or something. That's the only way the Bulls have a chance to even make it competitive. But I don't foresee that happening. So, unfortunately, Zoo, I think we got to profit off our team's loss here and make a bet on the Milwaukee Bucks to win the series.
A little reverse psychology.
Yeah, exactly. I'll take the loss if it means the Bulls can end up winning in the end.
Yeah, man. Dude, when I saw this series happening, I'm like, oh my lord. This is a team that I've watched every single one of their matchups, and it just looks like the Bucks are a different tier, man. I got the Bulls losing 4-0, man. They're gonna get swept out of the
true
ocean,
realist.
man. Yeah, man. I'm looking at this
I know that
matchup, and
hurt
the
to say.
first of all, the Bulls just don't beat good teams. That's just
That's
a fact
true.
this year.
That's true.
They're absolutely atrocious. And you're playing against a Milwaukee Bucks team that I think is the best team in the conference again this year, regardless of
Me
record.
too.
Giannis is at MVP level, and I think he's even better at his years that he has won MVP.
Yep.
He's improved his free throw shooting to at least 70%, which is respectable. His three-point shot doesn't look like a NBA 2K glitch when he has a little hitch up there. So, like, the dude improved his shooting. The dude won a championship. He got better. There's more fluidity to get more chemistry. The team is pretty much fully loaded again. Brook Lopez is back from injury. Their defense is going to get shaped up again in the playoffs. I'm like, they're peaking at the right time. And I watched that matchup. Like, Giannis, like, nobody going to slow down Giannis Antetokounmpo, man.
No.
Like, the Bulls' power forward is a 6'7" guy in Patrick Williams, who's the most passive dude in the world, man. Like, this dude, if he had a little bite in him, man, a little dog in Patrick Williams, I feel like this guy could be averaging 14, 15 points a game, man. Put up a little Scotty Barnes number, but the dude is super passive. He sees like the three All-Stars. I'm putting an asterisk on Vucevic because this year he was definitely not an All-Star caliber player. So they got three guys that are high volume guys, lots of shot, lots of attempts. So Patrick Williams trying to be the good old teammate. Screw that. Vucevic, nah, man. Vucevic ain't no third option no more, man. He tries to jack up his open threes, little scrubby dubby, man. I'm sorry, Vucevic, man. I'm telling you right now, Vucevic is going to get destroyed by Brook Lopez.
I agree. I was literally just going to say that.
I'm telling you, Brook Lopez.
They're going to try and take each other out to the three-point line.
Strong guy. Like, this guy's going to be jacking up three. There's a reason his nickname is Splash Mountain. Vuce doesn't want to go up there and guard him.
He's Crash Mountain.
Dude,
yeah.
My Lord, Vucevic, man. I'm telling you, this dude is going to have a rough series. Like, DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, Drew Holiday is going to be guarded one of them. And Drew Holiday is probably one of the top 5 perimeter defenders in the NBA. Whoever
top
he guards. Yeah, he's going to annoy the crap out of him. So they're probably going to – they might put Drew Holiday on DeMar DeRozan because DeMar DeRozan is the Bulls' best player. 28 points a game this year. Going to be on an all-NBA team and deserves it, man. 28, 5-5. DeMar DeRozan is going to need a 40-piece, like you said. Like, if the Bulls get a win, DeMar DeRozan will have 40-plus points.
Exactly.
That's what's going to take.
Or LaVine.
It's going to take a Michael Jordan performance to get a win against this Bucks team, which – completely dominated this Bulls roster, man. And I don't know, Caruso, I don't know.
We'll see.
Hopefully there's a reset because the way the Bulls finish hurts my eyes, man.
It did. They plummeted, man.
I watched that Hornets game. Absolutely. I turned it off. Man.
You know, LaMelo did that though because Lonzo was on the other side. He kind of turned it out,
man.
And he knew Lonzo couldn't do it.
He dropped 20 points in a quarter, man, and the game was over. Like they shot like 80% from the field in the first quarter. The Bulls defense has been atrocious. I don't know if the Bulls have any adjustments. Alex Caruso has regressed. His injury is probably affecting him right now. We're without Lonzo Ball, the Bulls' best 3-and-D type player, who I feel like can make a difference in the playoffs because of his ability to shoot the three. Like as a catch and shoot guy, exactly. When Bulls see a double team happening, they panic. They play hot potato. They don't know how to pass. It makes me so. I'm like, God, they pass and no one's open. When a double team happens, you can get a guy open. But when that happens to the Bulls, man, they just get nothing, man. They get a Vucevic brick, man. That's what happens every single time. So Milo, Billy Donovan, step up your coaching, man. I don't want to see no mediocrity. Bulls, they have to be at least competitive this series. I'll take a competitive series where I see development from the young guys. Ayo Dosunmu, Patrick Williams, they got to develop, and in the playoffs, you develop faster. So, I want the series to go as long as possible to help the young guys develop, and especially my boy Zach LaVine, first playoff appearance, help his confidence, man. Got some Olympic experience, now he gets some playoff experience. Hopefully, he shows up and not shrinking the pressure against a really, really good team because he's going to have to guard Chris Middleton, and Chris Middleton, the playoffs has been pretty money as a second option.
Depends where he is on the cycle for him, but yes, he's either underrated or he has a botch game and then he just kind of goes in the circle. Chris Middleton, but yeah, I mean Budenholzer. I think that this entire Bucks team is just playing so much easier now because they just got the weight lifted off their shoulders winning that championship last year. Budenholzer, if they didn't win that championship last year, he was probably gone.
Yeah, he was probably gone.
I know we were talking about that about a year ago, so not even for him, but I don't think it would have ruined Giannis's legacy at all because he had already won multiple MVPs, but some of those other guys might have moved on from that Bucks team or pieces would have been moved around if they hadn't won last year. But they had the ability to pull it off. They got the chemistry to come back for a whole nother year with really no changes, except for DiVincenzo, I think might have been the only loss.
Traded away.
Yeah, and Brook Lopez, I think that's going to be the matchup difference. Giannis has his own monster, but I think Brook Lopez and Drew Holiday are going to be the two key players because we know what Chris and Giannis can do. It's going to be what those other two can bring into the fold.
Yes, I probably got Bucks in 5.
Thank you. Nice.
I do think, though, and this is nothing about the series, but I do think if Boston would have ended up being a 3, that would have been way more interesting because with Boston, that's 2 scores that you have to worry about. And if, say, Levine and DeRozan do what they're supposed to do, then that makes Patrick Williams more of an X factor because I don't know who Boston's third option would be. And you don't have to worry about the inside. He's a defensive guy. I'm taking Patrick over him. But, inside, Robert Williams wasn't playing.
That's true.
So then you don't have to worry about the big like you have to do with Giannis. I think that matchup could have been, not saying I would pick Chicago, but that would have been an interesting.
Oh, yeah. I would have given the Bulls a game or maybe 2 games against the Celtics.
I would have said Celtics in 6.
Yeah, Celtics in 6. But it would have been way more interesting because with that Robert Williams injury, that kind of levels it off because then it's like Vooch, even though he hasn't been the greatest this year, he wouldn't have to go against Robert Williams. So that, and like you say, if you just offset, and if Lonzo would have been healthy, I definitely probably would have picked the Bulls because then that's 3 legitimate options. And then you have Patrick Williams coming back. That would have been. That's why I always said this year, if Lonzo would have came back healthy, I think the Celtics, even though the Bulls never beat anybody good, I just think those 3 options in the playoffs, you got 2 versus. The Celtics are very much, the difference is they're kind of like the Nets, but a better defensive team because their 2 main guys are Tatum and Brown. You have Smart and Al Horford, they're ancillary players, but their 2 main guys are Tatum and Brown. To me, they just play way better defense. That's why they've risen in the rankings. But I just think if you in the NBA, better offense is always going to beat better defense, even though you need defense to win the playoffs. If you got guys that can score, and like you say, Lonzo's no slouch on defense, and then Levine and DeRozan are to be desired. But then if you had Lonzo and Patrick Williams switching with Tatum and Brown, it just would have been so many more better combinations in that series if Lonzo was healthy and the Celtics were playing the Bulls. But you're playing the Bucks, and it's 5.
Yeah, so it's over. I'm not even going to watch any of it. I'm just kidding. No, I'll watch the games, but yeah, I think it's going to be a tough year. So, unfortunate for how well they started and especially how they played pretty much through the All-Star break.
Lonzo really killed. That's the key.
The Lonzo injury really killed.
Man, he's also, I love Lonzo Ball. He's a Band-Aid. Injured. I swear to God, he's injured every year, and it's always the lower leg. It's always on the lower body. It's not like, if it's like a shoulder and a wrist, I don't care. Lower body, I care. So looking like a Band-Aid, man. Looking like a Band-Aid.
Yeah.
We got some interesting series, though. And then we still have some yet to be set, but I think the Nets are crushing them right now. So
yeah, they're definitely crushing the Cavs.
I've
been glancing over there.
They're up by 13. They're up 13. My boy KD got 8 points. I need 22 more, man. 22 more. That's all I'm asking, man. Yeah. 22 more. Come on, KD. Don't.
A lot of times, dude.
I only see 3 shot attempts, man. I want more aggression, man. I don't know why.
I don't let him get a bigger lead. He might.
I don't know why. I don't know why this Brown guy got 8 shot attempts already. That's a problem. That's a problem.
Yeah,
it is a problem.
But that's probably because they're beating the heck out of him.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, he double teaming his ass. Like, Brown, come on now.
Yeah,
8 attempts.
So we're definitely going to be talking not strictly, but a majority of NBA playoffs coming up. Like I say, the play-in tournament's a really cool idea. Shout out to Adam Silver. Got a lot of cool games coming up. By this time next week, it'd be set in stone for the most part.
Yeah, I think we actually might be into the first and second games.
First and second games, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So we'll be discussing those and seeing how that goes. And I just said we're going to be talking strictly playoffs, but I mean the NFL draft is right around the corner, so we kind of got to start looking into. I would say probably it's not as the reason why we haven't brought it up as much on. It's just not a lot of star power with the quarterbacks, so it's just kind of been tough to cover. I think it's a lot of offensive linemen and defensive linemen being discussed in the top 10. So, but we're definitely going to be getting our, hats. We're going to be thinking of topics centered around the NFL draft. So you guys make sure you tune in for that. Make sure you follow us on bullheaded_pod on IG, Twitter, Whole 9, TikTok, bullheaded_864. Make sure you subscribe to all of our streaming options with Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, the Whole 9. And for me, Zoo, and P-Bush, we're out.
Man, oh man.
All right.
Oh,
And
God.
Sean's out, everybody. We're still live.
Oh shoot. We're still alive.
Sean left the studio.